Hey everyone! So, Xbox now released an app that lets you set spending limits for child accounts. Very useful, I suspect, given the previous history of claims and referrals that hit the news and media. As always, you're listening to thatretrovideogamer.com. And if you want to like, comment, subscribe, it'd be most appreciated. It is free. There's no gimmicks, no incentives. We don't tend to ask usually for any Patreon help or anything like that. Although we probably will set one up eventually at some point, but we're not going to jump on it yet. Guys, as I say, nothing costs you anything here. Feel free to subscribe. You can always unsubscribe later, and it does help the channel out with every comment, good, bad, whatever you want to discuss on there. It really does help us out. Same with the likes and dislikes. But yeah, going through, this one's just turned up on today, actually, on Eurogamer. Tom Phillips has dropped this one through. It's actually a fascinating thing, because I've been looking into this myself in the background. I'm quite surprised that Xbox hadn't really jumped onto it too much outside of their original website issues and access through Microsoft. But basically, short end of the stick is Microsoft's new Xbox Family Settings app is now up and running. Basically, I use manage child accounts. Now, if you're a certain age, like myself, you basically, you're going to have kids already growing up. They're going to have their own entertainment access as well. My guys have all got their own Xboxes, and they do tend to go straight into our the retro cave and pinch God knows how much of my original assets and consoles. I mean, the amount of PlayStation 2s I've suddenly lost randomly to somebody else's room, along with a few highlights and classic collections, there is beyond a joke. But I like the fact that kids also jump in and want to take an interest into previous systems and previous generations. Most usually tend not to, so it's good to enhance their curiosity. But going back over to this, with the Xbox account, we've now got something that's actually manageable on smartphones that really can actually make a lovely bit of change. There's a few positives, a few negatives on it, which I'll go through. But yeah, as I was saying, Thomas Priest, but Microsoft's free Xbox Family Settings now allows you to manage child account spending power with a handy set of tools. These allow you to set spending limits by manually adding money to the Microsoft account and remove the ability to purchase with a credit or debit card. That is an absolutely fantastic thing. Every parent is probably going to be singing and rejoicing at this point, because they're the biggest bugbears I've had with Nintendo side of things, Xbox and PlayStation is whenever you set up an account up, and they'll always basically say, yeah, you can do it all for free, absolutely fantastic. But if you want to do a purchase, a one-time purchase, you've got to register an account on that, a credit card or a debit card on that account. Brilliant, you put it on there. Now, the only way to remove that is to go onto the websites and take it off. It's not exactly an easy thing to do. It is, if you're computer-minded, IT illiterate and all the rest of it, you can fumble your way through and you can get rid of it. Brilliant. But it goes on. It's generally a notification, like the Apple side of things always have notifications, so you can purchase, but only within a 15-minute window. You can take it off, and you have to get reconfirmation of passwords. With a lot of the younger accounts, you make a purchase, great. What happens if you make a second purchase on top? Quite quickly. Unless your parents are watching and actively monitoring accounts, you can easily let a couple slide through. And if it's $1.99 for a quick indie game, or if it's 39 pence on a very, very, very cheap DLC on a promotional sale, or some little cheapy under $5 kind of thing. Xbox do fantastic sales, so do PlayStation. Hell, Nintendo do really good ones. You can forgive them doing the occasional bits and pieces, little treats, giving you a reward for the end of the week. You're going to forget about it. Most parents, let's be truthful about a lot of us, we don't always check our accounts, we don't regularly check them as well as we should do, and this is where it gets really frustrating, because the way the old system worked, any child could jump onto these at a moment's notice, pretty much hijack, quick bit of FIFA, before you know it, it's literally like getting your kid your debit card saying, pop to the shop, go grab as many of the Match Attack stickers as you want, or the local FIFA ones, and get those cards in and start trading. The FIFA accounts are notorious for this, because you can literally, within seconds, get the loot boxes and the loot card packs, and you can literally ravage those, trying to get the best players. Obviously you don't, you spend a couple £100, parents find out, the first thing every kid's going to react to is, it's not my fault, There was no passwords or anything to restrict me to doing it. I didn't know how much I spent. I'm really sorry. And the parents are going to go, well, that's okay, Timmy or Sarah or whoever else it is. I'm going to go and blame Microsoft. I'm going to go and blame Sony, because they really should have put something in place to stop these people doing it. Now, looking at it from the point of view of the company, are you really sure you want to purchase this? There are efforts made in every possible way on their systems, on their consoles, on the websites. Even when you put the cards in, please make sure you put approval. Don't do anything without getting approval. And yet this still carries on. It still happens, and the papers, being the papers, centralise it. They put it all out there. They make it look like it's really, really bad, and then basically put every gaming company into a situation where they have to do a token refund, a suggestion of goodwill, regardless of how notorious this has been. Sometimes roll back the data so they haven't actually got the bits they grabbed in the background, or they can't get hold of it because it would look as a bit of a bad scene that you ripped, presses off a kid. But this thing regularly kept happening, and now what Microsoft have done, basically by saying, right, you don't have to put credit and debit card on here. You've got it on your main account. That's great. That's yours. Now you can add credit to your child because there's a relationship there with the accounts. But if the child, and this is why I absolutely find fantastic, such a simple idea. There's an ask to buy function now. It's a little toggle. It's a little switch on the app. It's like from left to right, etc., etc. And basically, if the child wants to make a purchase through all the shopping cart on the console, exactly the same way, same on the website. The moment they go through, it's basically going to say, right, you don't have sufficient funds for it. It's going to prompt basically a request for the child, to basically go to the adult and approve it, or to add the funds to do so. Even then, and this is what I really love, the fact is that when you've got the money actually on the kid's account, when they do a purchase, you can still force it to have an approval. So say, the kid's there and he's suddenly found Friday the 13th, the video game is suddenly available on sale, it's under £4, and he really wants to get hold of it. Because of that purchase, somehow he's fiddled the settings, or she's fiddled the settings, and they've got an 18 game under the age of the appropriate thing. They've tweaked it and done whatever they need to. Everyone's going to do it. We've all done it if we were younger. You can still do an approval on any game that's purchased, any DLC that's purchased. So you still have the right to refuse and say, no, you're not getting that, it's stupid. And that's absolutely fantastic. For once, the parents get re-control into seeing what goes onto those screens to the kids, and also what they're doing, what their spending habits are like, when they spend, what time they're up, and all these little things which are parental aspects that should already be done, but too many people use the consoles, and I hate to say it, and it gives us as users and fans of these systems a real bad rap. They use it as a glorified babysitting tool, and it sickens me so many times that they used to use kids' TV as an excuse for it. Now that's mostly come off the channels onto satellite. It seems to be the consoles and YouTube that seems to grab the majority of the headlines. That's the tool that's constantly pushing for it. We need better constraints. By forcing this back to the parents, it's also giving Microsoft, now hopefully I want Sony to really do this as well. I want them to literally just say, right, you've got complete control over the incomes that are going to your accounts. I hope Sony does the same with their app. I really hope Nintendo push theirs as well. By putting the onus back on the parents and saying you're approving absolutely everything, it's your decision to switch on or off that approval. If anybody suddenly goes, well, my kids have taken my phone, they've put the app on there, they've approved all the bits and pieces, and they've taken £500 off me. Terms and conditions now would simply say, well, you've approved it. You installed the app, you passworded it on your phone, all security aspects on here, and then there are 3 or 4 layers that you would need to have done and set up before those kids would have been able to access and approve. As far as Microsoft would be concerned now, they could literally say, we can't do any more. You approved multiple times that this was okay. Now you're saying it's not. You're against terms of service. And regardless of sales rights, etc., on this, your right of refusal is already done. You've spent a digital good. And so now you've got the digital products, and that's yours, their ownership, and it's done. Now, yeah, it obviously takes away all the surprise aspects. Now, obviously, yeah, as I say, the measurements will prove useful in the use of the child accounts, and the children use them, but it's also likely to benefit Microsoft. Spend limited features are absolutely fantastic, great way to teach your child. And, we're looking, and this is where I actually really, I was touching upon a little bit with the FIFA games. We're going to see it, perhaps we're going to also see similar features used in the UK if legislation is brought into control spend on loot boxes, such as the individual games like FIFA 21 that are now moving to preempt legal challenges and block spending on blind box purchases. See, all of that part of gambling now about opening random packs. So we used to see it in Hearthstone for Warcraft. We see it in FIFA 20 and 21, particularly as people are picking up random, these £1 DLCs effectively to open up and see what 8 cards you've got. You're going to get a rarish kind of one, load of common stuff. You're trying to build partly a portfolio, a digital collection, and also trying to get the rarer items, so you increases your chance of probability into playing that game or those particular leagues better and get your ultimate squad in the case of FIFA 21. Tops do something very similar on a lot of the iPhones, Androids, where you download like the Star Wars app and you can get the trading cards for each individual TV show, movies, etc. And you try to complete your sets, and there's like 400 of them, and you'll never do it within the time unless you physically pay out an absolute ton to get them. But I like the fact that by taking this and you remove this gambling aspect off, we're going to start seeing less and less of this cheap cash-in mentality. We're hopefully going to start seeing a bit more of it being a bit more increase into the game workers' own skill, determination in those games will actually get you better results and better cards, and it's not going to be that familiar cost that we've been seeing for the last 5-10 years. Now, how EA and Ubisoft and the like all carry on down this mentality, because obviously it's going to harm profits, they're going to look at other ways to try and eke out more money out of the players in other avenues. Remains to be seen. But at the moment, this one app is just a great first start and a great first push into a constant blight that's been hitting us for months and years, in fact. So I'm really keen to see literally what Sony and Nintendo do next, because hopefully I hope they're on board, and I hope they really do take notice of this and lead their own systems alongside Microsoft, so we can just cap this all straight down and then at least get to this new section where we're not physically having to deal with the bad press that the gaming industry used to get, particularly with this and obviously with the violence side of things. We move more into family friendly, that movie kind of aspect where it's an all-encompassing genre engineer that we all partake into, and we're not held back by constraints of our past. But that's that for this episode. I would say like, comment and subscribe as we said before, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Take care.